You know, every single year, companies pour millions, sometimes billions of dollars into leadership workshops and big strategic offsites. They're all aimed at driving change. But here's the real question. How many of those expensive initiatives actually stick? How many of them translate into real, meaningful results? The answer, unfortunately, is not very many.
And this isn't just a hunch. The person whose work we're digging into today, after running over 50 of these leadership workshops himself, came to a pretty blunt and shocking conclusion. He said it flat out. Most of them were a waste of money. Wow. I mean, that's a bold statement, right? But it points to a massive, fundamental problem in how we usually approach change in the business world.
So why? Why do so many of these well-intended, super expensive plans fail so often? Well, the reason can really be boiled down to three simple words: the knowing-doing gap. This is this huge, massive chasm between what we understand we should be doing and what we actually do day in and day out.
And this comparison really gets to the heart of the whole issue. On one side, you've got knowing. This is the world of PowerPoint decks, strategic pillars, and those mission statements you see on the wall. It's where pretty much all corporate training lives. But then you have the other side, doing. This is the world of daily habits, of team routines, of repeated actions. And this is where results are actually born.
And this exposes the big, flawed belief that's at the core of almost every failed change initiative. You have smart, passionate leaders who genuinely believe that if they can just explain the why with enough clarity, with enough passion, that people will just automatically change their behavior to match it.
Well, spoiler alert, it doesn't work. Not even close. Just relying on understanding alone is a losing strategy every single time. And to really see why this fails so badly in a big, complex organization, we can just look at a much more personal, universal example, one we've all probably lived through. And that brings us to something I call the New Year's resolution trap. It is the perfect, personal metaphor that explains this whole knowing-doing gap in a way that I think most of us have felt firsthand.
So you know the drill. Picture it. It's January 1st. You are motivated, you are feeling good, you're ready for a fresh start. And you decide, this is the year. This is the year I'm finally going to eat healthier. Your why is strong. Your knowing is at 100%. But then what really happens? You have all this amazing intention, but your environment, your system, it stays exactly the same. You don't redesign your kitchen to make the healthy food visible and the junk food hard to get to. You don't change your daily routine. In short, you don't make the old easy behavior hard, and you definitely don't make the new desired behavior easy.
And the outcome is just depressingly predictable. The research is really clear on this. Without changing the system around you, your willpower just runs out of steam. Most people, believe it or not, will have failed by the second Friday of January. Your good intentions just don't stand a chance against a poorly designed system.
Okay, so that's what it looks like on a personal level. Now, let's take that exact same dynamic and scale it way, way up to the corporate world, where a company's big, shiny strategy crashes into the messy reality of daily operations.
This image just says it all, doesn't it? A company creates this bold, ambitious, amazing strategy for 2025. It's like a rocket ship ready for takeoff. But they try to execute it while still chained to the same old behavioral systems, the same meeting structures, the same reward mechanisms from 2024. That's the anchor. And what happens when you try to launch a rocket ship that's tied to a giant anchor? Yep, it's a guaranteed disaster.
So the crucial point here is that most leadership teams, without even realizing it, roll out their new plans with this exact recipe for failure. They have brand new strategic priorities, but they're layered right on top of old, deeply ingrained cultural patterns. And the only thing connecting the two is just a vague hope that, somehow this time things will be different. But it won't be different. And that's because of a fundamental truth that's so often ignored. Culture is not magic. Culture is not some mysterious fog that just rolls in. Culture is by design. Culture isn't something that just magically shifts when a new strategy is announced in an all-hands meeting. No, it is the direct result of the specific behaviors that are designed, encouraged, and rewarded inside an organization. It has to be built on purpose, intentionally.
And you don't build it with grand gestures or inspirational posters in the break room. You build it by focusing on the small stuff. One specific, observable behavior at a time.
So, if hope isn't a strategy, then what is? If top-down mandates always fail, then what actually succeeds? Let's get practical. Let's actually look at the formula that works.
So after diagnosing the problem so clearly, what does the solution actually look like? What is the blueprint for turning a strategic plan from just words on a slide into a living, breathing cultural reality?
All right, here it is, the formula. It's a methodical 5-step process. First, you start with a crystal clear strategic objective. Then, number 2, you define the supportive culture you absolutely need to achieve it. From there, step 3, you identify specific, observable leading behaviors. And I'm not talking about vague values like be a team player. I mean concrete actions people can actually take. Now, step 4 is the real engine room. This is behavior design. This means you have to engineer the environment. You design the cues that trigger the behavior. You build easy systems to support it, and you create the right rewards to reinforce it. And finally, step 5, you constantly measure and iterate, refining the whole process until that new behavior becomes the new default.
Now, let's be totally clear. This is much harder and more detailed work than just running a strategic offsite. It requires real discipline. But, and this is the key, it's the only way to actually bridge that knowing-doing gap and guarantee that your brilliant strategy doesn't just stay on a slide.
And this isn't just theory. The author of this whole framework makes a really powerful claim based on his experience. In 18 years of coaching organizations with this method, he says he has yet to see this intentional behavior-first approach fail. That's pretty compelling stuff.
So that brings us to the final and most crucial question, a question to take back to your own team, to your own organization. When you look at your meetings, your processes, your reward systems, are they designed to help people simply know the plan, or are they meticulously designed to help people do it? The answer to that question makes all the difference.